Have you ever felt yourself disappearing? Not dramatically, but quietly, like a whisper fading in an empty room. There's a moment that comes to everyone who's carried too much for too long. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or breakdown. It happens on the edge of your bed at 2 a.m., on a bus seat, on cold bathroom tile. The location never matters. What matters is the feeling. Subtle, collapsing inward, like a bridge finally carrying 1 pound more than it was built to hold. And in that stillness, something inside you whispers, almost apologetically, I can't hold all of this anymore. This is where collapse lives for those who've survived too much. Not loud, not explosive, just silent, controlled, almost graceful, the mind trying to protect itself from shattering. The calm that isn't calm. People look at you and say, you're so calm, nothing rattles you. But they're not seeing calm. They're seeing quiet numbness. Your nervous system is running in emergency mode long after the crisis has passed. When overwhelmed for too long, your brain doesn't explode. It shuts down, narrowing emotional bandwidth to the bare minimum, like a computer in low power mode, to prevent overheating. You don't stop feeling because you're enlightened. You stop feeling because your mind's capacity has been exceeded. Joy feels distant. Things that should upset you barely make a ripple. Your brain isn't relaxed. It's protecting you from emotional overload by turning the volume down on everything. Peace is an active presence. Numbness is an absence. Peace allows you to feel safe. Numbness keeps you from feeling at all. That delayed, quiet, strangely flat reaction. It's not a flaw. It's your nervous system saying, let me hold back your feelings until I'm sure it's safe to release them. The maturity that was forced, not grown. There's a kind of wisdom people admire, the steady voice, thoughtful pauses, the calm explanation of pain without bitterness. But most never see how that maturity was created, not grown. Some develop wisdom through guidance, safety, and time. Others develop it because life gave them no soft places to land. When you navigate emotional chaos, you don't mature, you adapt. And adaptation has a different cost. You learn to monitor everyone's mood before understanding your own. You comfort adults while still a child. You translate silence, tension, slammed doors, and shifting tones long before learning multiplication tables. While other kids learn bike tricks, you're learning emotional survival. That wisdom wasn't earned. It was extracted, taken from moments that should have been gentle, forced out long before you had the strength to carry it. This is why grounded people often carry an invisible ache. They didn't choose to grow up fast. Life pushed them into adulthood and closed the door behind them. The brain, that learned to survive. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, became overactive, firing not only at real threats, but at possible, imagined, and remembered ones. Your prefrontal cortex works overtime and eventually tires. Your body stays in anticipatory mode, scanning micro-expressions, tone changes, energy shifts. This is why you notice too much. Why do you replay conversations, decoding hidden meanings? Why do you feel a room's tension before anyone realizes something's wrong? Why does a slight voice change send your heart into quiet alarm? To outsiders, it looks like intuition. To psychologists, it's hypervigilance. To you, it's simply how your brain learned to survive. Your brain didn't become too sensitive. It became too prepared. A survival masterpiece built under pressure, still trying to figure out how to live where the threat is no longer real. The skills. No one asked for you. Walk into a room and see emotional temperature, not furniture. You read silence, not just absence of words, but its texture. You spot tension before words are spoken. You know when kindness is real versus performative. You've learned to shrink yourself in moments when attention feels dangerous. None of this feels special to you. It's simply survival muscle memory, proof of how profoundly life shapes a person, even when no one else notices. When love feels like risk. For those who've carried too much, love often feels like a beautiful risk. Not because you don't want closeness, but because closeness has historically come with consequences. Your nervous system doesn't relax when someone gets close, it braces. You might pull back, not from disinterest, but self-preservation. Or your heart senses danger, even when love is steady. A delayed text feels like abandonment approaching. You overthink good moments, rehearse painful outcomes, apologize too quickly, forgive too easily, and doubt your worth, even when someone chooses you wholeheartedly. You aren't afraid of love itself. You're afraid of losing yourself inside it. The grief no one sees. There's grief in losing yourself, not all at once, but slowly, over years of surviving. You grieve the version who trusted easily, who laughed without checking the room first, who didn't rehearse conversations or analyze every silence. You miss a version of yourself you barely remember, homesick for a place that existed only inside your mind. This grief doesn't break you, it shapes you. Healing isn't just becoming someone new, it's also grieving the selves you had to leave behind, the selves who protected you when the world didn't. The path forward. Healing begins with understanding that your brain has been in survival mode far longer than intended. Start with awareness, noticing when your chest tightens, when you rehearse outcomes that haven't happened. Then, regulation, teaching your body to return from the edge through grounding, breathing, and movement, reparenting, giving yourself the safety and permission you never received, and building healthy connections slowly, with people who feel safe rather than familiar. Your brain is not stuck. It can adapt, again, this time not for survival, but for peace. Becoming the lighthouse. Everything you survived shaped you into someone with uncommon depth. You became a lighthouse, shining not because you're perfect, but because you remember the darkness. Your survival became insight. Your pain became compassion. Your reflection became wisdom. And now you're learning something even more powerful. Your life no longer has to be about enduring. It can be about creating gentleness, connection, a future softer than your past,